everybody, welcome to Queer Games, heck yeah. Let me just turn down the volume on my phones. Alright, I'm Luke Miller, I'm a game dev, I make games like My Ex-Boyfriend the Space Tyrant, The Beat, Oscar Wildcard, maybe a little something in the future, based around a space station, but you know, that's for me to know and for you guys to find out. I help out with the Queer Games Festival, so I'm playing the games to take screenshots, and I thought since I'm playing them, why not, you know, stream it and put it out in the world and let people see these amazing little art artifacts. Although little sounds diminutive, I just meant little as in like they're gems, you know, small teams, sometimes solo devs, very intense, very personal a lot of the time. You don't know where it's going to go because it's sort of missing that, you know, they've got some rough edges, which is, you know, the way I really like it. So, you know, those are the games for you. You've come to the right place because you know we play through them, we talk about some of the decisions they've made, and we, you know, we've got a bit of a game developers eye on it too. So, you know, we're all just figuring stuff out. I could give you a spiel about why I like queer games. There's a really important point that I've been missing the last few videos that I've completely forgotten about. But we're just gonna have to move on with our lives, I guess. This I don't think this will be the last one. This is the last game on my list. So I've got the randomized list of games from the festival that I'm working my way through. This is the last game on the list. The other games that I haven't streamed either. They wouldn't run on my Linux computer. You know, I dev on Linux. Or there were two that I've already played before the festival, so I haven't felt the need to replay them. What does that mean for queer games? Heck yeah. Well, let's just enjoy this game and think about it at the end. Okay. I don't know anything about these games, so if you don't like surprise content, look away. Could be dark, could be too dark, could be too dark for your namby-pamby little basic mind. But you know, that's your call. You know, if you're a coward and you want to look away, no judgment here. We don't judge here on Queer Games, heck yeah. If you want to run away like a scared little kitten, that's entirely your choice. No judgment. But you know, if you're a brave warrior, you know, if you really are, you know, a leader of people, then you can stay. Today's game is Negative Space. Let's go. Ooh, I like that fade. Ooh, this dark red on dark near red is pretty tough on the old eyeballs, but luckily the text is about this high on my screen, so we'll be fine. I remember that one quote that everyone likes. If you stare into the void for too long, then it will stare back into you. I love that. Nietzsche. And it's a bit of an abyss, but I guess he wrote it in German, so it doesn't really count. If the void is really looking... Does everybody know that quote? You know, if you stare into the abyss, you know, beware for too long, beware that it will stare back into you. I do think it's like one of those pearls of wisdom from just humanity that just we all own. You know, like treat other people like you want to be treated. You know, you're the cause of your own suffering. You know, your craving it causes your own suffering. And you know, and if you stare into an abyss for too long, be careful because the abyss will stare into you. Oh, it's so good. How many abysses have you stared into today, just alone? If the void is really looking at me right now, then what is it seeing? How would the void describe me? Oh, I wouldn't know how to describe myself. It's hard to put into words. That's very pretty. Let's take some screenshots. I don't know if you can hear, but there is some freaky, fluttering sound in my ears. For example, there's been a hole in my chest for as long as I remember, right where my lungs should be. But sometimes nonsense comes out of it. Sometimes it's colours. Sometimes it's sounds. Sometimes it's words. Sometimes the hole gets larger and it's easy to get nonsense out. It's really pretty. And sometimes it shrinks and it's hard to get anything out. I wonder what it is. It's where our lungs should be. Are we talking, like, are we actually sort of missing our lungs, like, physically? Or is it like, are we sort of metaphoric at the moment? If it shrinks so small, will nothing come out of me ever again? And sometimes I wonder, if it grows so large, what would be left of me? The transitions in this game are really, really lovely. I should probably search to figure out how to fill the hole in my chest, but I don't know which direction to go. But if I stay here, then what will become of me and the hole where my lungs should be? Will it grow so large that I would become an unrecognizable void that does nothing but stare? And will it stare into me or into something like me, someone like me? Perhaps if I cannot go forward, then I shall go backwards. It is better than nothing, right? But back to when this started. When did it start? How long has this hole been here? It feels like it's been here all my life, but I don't remember it being so heavy. Oof. So I go somewhere, anywhere, to see where this weight comes from. And soon I find my surroundings changing. This is a good looking game. We haven't actually had many, like, sort of abstract games in the festival this year. Like, it's all been very, humans walking around doing human things. Here we have just something that's kind of pure art maybe. And soon I find my surroundings changing. And soon I see there are words surrounding me. And they start growing a number and accumulating like gnats to rotten fruit. Ipso lorem. Words are echoing around me, but the more they bounce off the walls, the more incoherent they are. Words are echoing around me, but the more they bounce around the world, the more they incoherent they are. That's cool. Oh wow, that's clever. So, just the words are kind of appearing. They've broken the convention that one word appears on a screen at a time in most games. You get those lines of text happening. I'm actually genuinely impressed that this game has just thought about that basic convention and thrown out the door. So I'm surrounded by nonsense, covered by it, consumed by it, drowning in it. And while I know how to swim, I just don't know how to reach the surface to breathe some fresh air. Words are echoing around me, but the more they bounce off the walls, the more incoherent they are. So I'm surrounded by nonsense, covered by it, consumed by it, drowning in it. I can feel the echoes pass the hole in my chest and vibrate through my entire being. So I'm surrounded by nonsense, covered by it. I just don't know how to reach the surface. Better and more clever. I say words, I get disappointed. I say words, I get disappointed. I say more words, I can't hear myself. I say more words, I can't hear myself. I can't hear myself. I say more words, I can't hear myself. Even more words. Are they understandable in this chaotic echoing? And then the words are said back to me, at least I think they were, and they sound so familiar. I try to remember where those words come from. Who were they attributed to? Who was saying them and to whom? To a fictional place? To an audience? To someone? Or maybe... Ooh. The void? The hole in my chest. Oh, nothing's happening. Do we click? Oh, to negative space. Oh, whoops. The words went right into the void in my chest, and there's something about how they feel as it passes through me. They make me feel like I'm someone else. Are those feelings my current self now, or did my current self become a part of my accursed past self? Regardless of my sense of self, words fall out of my chest like raindrops and into the sky. So I let it all pour out of my chest and read all the words that come out. What is this? Did I make these words? I don't remember these words. This is all nonsense. Such terrible, ugly nonsense. How could anyone ever like anything to come out of me? I look at all the colours in front of me and I feel so empty. Just like before, just like last time, and the time before that, and the time before that. It was my past self that wrote this garbage. Oh. Past selves tend to be more annoying than your current self, and your current self has to cope with that somewhat. I garbled that. But even if the words hurt upon reading them, it's still more words than what I can make nowadays. You, who was so much more stupider than my current self, could do so much more than current me, even if all you could do were mistakes. But when you're young, you don't know the rules, and so you just can churn out 100,000 words, right? So the negative space within me opens further. What forcibly opens me up were wishes that echo in the loud, noisy void. I wish I could make things like everyone can. Now, I'm going to stop you right there. You don't want to make things like everyone can. You want to make things that no one else can make. And that's what you've done here. I wish I could make words like they all can. See, you've made words, I'm talking to the game, but maybe also to the dev if they ever watch this. You've made words jump around the screen. You've mixed words with colours and time and motion and sound. Like, that's more than a novelist will ever do, I wish I could make anything like you can. That's true, I am in a class of my own. I can't disagree with everything you write. Sometimes you just get it perfectly right, and you have just then. I wish I was like you. Well, anyone can be like me. Follow your goals, you can reach your dreams, I'm living proof. Further, 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 words reach and stretch until finally I become part of the noise and disappear. Don't be so negative about yourself. Good advice. My favourite Shakespeare quote, even though I can't actually remember the actual words, it's like, self-love and self-loathing are both sins, but self-love is not so vile a sin as self-loathing. It's just a really long way of saying don't be negative about yourself. But when I try to be positive, it feels like I'm lying. I don't want to fake it. I don't want to be fake. But fakeness implies that there's truth you're hiding away, something you're hiding from. The void. The void. The void. The void. If so, then what am I hiding from? And why am I even hiding it? I don't know. I don't even know if this is even hiding. If I'm part of this noisy void, filling everything and everywhere. Ooh, wow. Actually, I don't quite know how they've done this animation. It's almost like a shader animation using a bit of maths, but it's a little too neat for that. It's like perhaps they've done some art in another program, like Inkscape or the GIMP, or not Blender, but like something like Inkscape. And then in the engine, they're using transitions between the different art. But it's pretty well done. I suddenly remember that one quote everyone likes: if you stare into the void for too long, then it will stare back into you. Oh, wait a minute. If the void is really looking at me right now, then what is it seeing? How would the void describe me? I wouldn't know how to describe it. Wait a minute. We've been here before. Pinks, blues, purples, whites, blacks. Gold, crimson, pastel pink. Okay, I thought we were looping, but actually we're just mixing, which is pretty cool. Gold, crimson, pastel pink, dull mint green, merlot, cerulean, sunset orange, twilight gold. Pick a colour, choose a colour. No, not that one. No, not that one. Or should I choose a different colour, unlike ancient stones and sepia soil, but like fruit and candy? Perhaps I already chose that colour long ago, perhaps I don't. Ooh, I see some text here that's off the screen. Oh, the colour palette in this is amazing. My games look like trash compared to this. I don't want to change it back to how it was originally, and the shape of these colours will always change until you tell it not to. Hair may be demanding and unruly, but if you were to give it a demand, then it will obey. Uh-oh. I mean, as far as making a game difficult to read out loud, sequentially, you've done a good job. Because I don't think this is a game that's designed to be read out loud. This is not a text game. I think it's tricked us to think it's a text game. This is actually an extremely visual game. And so the text on the screen, I think it's not so much about the actual content, although that's obviously important. It's really just about the shape and the form of the words and the amount of them. I'll do my best though. Or maybe I did a long time ago, but you didn't care. Wait, oh, wait. Or maybe it wasn't me who gave it that specific shape. Or maybe I did a long time ago. Sometimes the shape is easy to find, sometimes the colour is too. Sometimes it's as difficult as others, sometimes the colour is too. That you end up needing to damage. Maybe they didn't care either, and maybe they cared so much that the shape was so familiar that changing to a very different shape would mean... Yes, words garbled, because now I'm surrounded with so much colour. It's filling me with emotions I thought I'd lost. If you stare into the void for too long, then it will stare back into you. And when it stares back at me, I reach out to those eyes, gazing at me, those eyes I've been hiding from. And then when it sees me, perhaps it'll be smiling, because I'm smiling back at it. Ipso lorem facto. Yes. I mean, what a great little game. As I said, it presents as a text game, but it's actually a visual game. And I think that was really special. Because in many ways a text game is easy to make. Like visual novels and, just on-screen text. Whereas to actually think foremost about the visual experience, it's something I've never mastered. So I was really interested to see what they did here. I think the game was kind of about yes, you have that void, but in some ways what you put in is what you get back. But I understand, you don't want to fake it. It's like, so I feel like game raises a couple of good questions. It's like, there is this void that I'm staring into that can't be good for me, but I can't fake happiness, because what's that? What is it even is that? But maybe even if you don't smiling back at you, like, maybe if you really look deep into that abyss, if you're lucky, you'll be okay with what you find. I think that's a very queer experience. I feel like for a lot of people, including myself growing up, we felt there was this abyss inside us, that this dark thing that we couldn't look at. We were always looking away from it, because to look at it would be to acknowledge it existed, this sort of monster inside you. And really, I only reached a better place when I looked deep into that part of me, deep into that abyss, and I didn't hate what I saw. I was like, oh, this is actually just me reflecting back at myself, and that's okay. Well, once again, Queer Games Heck Yeah has continued to surprise. This was the last game on the list, as I said, and I thought, oh, maybe I should finish with a big bang. There's a couple of games that I've already played that I haven't played on Queer Games Heck Yeah, and so I was thinking maybe one of those would be a suitable one for the end, because I think of queer men peering into a pool. It's very visual, it's very bright. I've met the devs, or Marble House, which is like a gay horror novel, but it's 3D, and lots of animation. And so I was like, oh, that's a very visual one to finish on as well. But also I've already played them, so do I want to bring them back, kind of thing. I thought, well, I'll get this one out of the way with before I make that decision. But really, just what a beautiful little nugget this turned out to be. Like a genuinely queer game. They're all queer in some way, but there's different types of queer game. There's a sort of a regular game with queer characters in it, or there's a regular story with queer characters in it, or there's a story with queer themes in it, like maybe the characters are coming out, or maybe they're suffering persecution or whatever. But then there's games which get a little more into a queer worldview, where it's the rules of that world are queer. And then there's even deeper layers where just the whole game is a queer experience. You know, up is not always up, down is not always down, and this is one of them. So it's actually sort of transcended the regular queer game scene. It's hilarious because I really was not expecting much coming into it, and it's genuinely pretty damn good. Alright, well, now that we're here at the end, I don't quite know what to do. Surely this can't be the last one. Like, I've got to get somebody on to the stream, or I could play one of my own games as like a final one. I could play one of the ones I've already played. I could go back and do a part 2 of one of the games that I've enjoyed from doing Queer Games Heck Yeah. If you ever do want me to see another game, like a part 2 of a game we've seen, or you've got a game and you want me to give it a go, let me know. Like, write your comments down here, or, you know, email me on Twitch or Twitter, or the socials, whatever social we're looking at when you're hearing this. I'm always around somewhere. Because yeah, I'd love to sort of play other games, but I think it's got to be on request, because, you know, I've got to go where the crowd is. I've got to go where the people are. I can't just yell into the void. Yeah. I don't know. Thanks for joining me. If this is the last episode. Is it the last episode? You know what? This was so good. Negative Space was such a good game. And it's such an unexpected little gem. And so, like, perfectly sums up the Queer Games Festival in my mind. That let us declare it the final game of Queer Games Heck Yeah. It's been a really great run. I've enjoyed it immensely. It's been a lot of work, you know, but often the best things are a lot of work. I hope you've enjoyed it, you know, moderately. You know, it's not super polished. I've learned a lot. What are some of the highlights? It's so weird. It's like the little things you notice as game dev. So a lot of the games this year, as the text has appeared on the screen, the little like end of text icon, which normally indicates you're waiting for the input, has sort of been following the text. I really love that. It's so weird. I'm like, what have I learned about being, you know, a gay man? What have I learned about queer politics? And it's like, no, it's the little dots on the screen that I'm interested in. I hope you've enjoyed the variety this year. So that's what struck me this year. Well, the sheer number. It's probably a third bigger than previous years, the number of games. So it's extremely, you know, an extreme honour that is for people to trust us with their games. And, you know, we try and treat each game as the precious object it is. We try and treat it with a bit of integrity. I like to think, anyway. But we are all volunteers, so it's kind of like, you know, but maybe that's one of the reasons we can treat them so kind of well, is because, you know, we've got one mission, and that's to kind of spotlight these games. Where was I going with all of that? Just that, things that I've liked this year. So the sheer number of games, the diversity of the games, you know, we've just had, you know, we've been out on spaceships, we've been in abstract games like we were just then. You know, we've gone all over the place, and different types of games, platformers, remixes of old books, The Secret of Dorian Pink, although that was only a demo, but that was hilarious, and just really interesting kind of as like a cultural thing to sort of take this old object and remix it and put it in a new media. That was kind of interesting to see. We had VR experiences, we had the tabletop game, that was pretty cool. The Bitsy games, I don't know if you've watched the other videos, but there's this framework for making games. So there's different ways to make games, different tools, and one of the tools is called Bitsy, and it just does these kind of really low-res, super austere kind of games. But I think this year we had 3 or 4 of them, and they were all just think pieces, you know, just really zen. I always use the word zen. Just really great pieces. And I guess the other notable thing for me this year was the quality of the games. Like we had so many just really complete experiences that were just really polished games. I can't really describe it. I guess maybe the pandemic sort of accelerated the quality of digital content a bit, or the people who like we're looking at second generation queer games now. Like we've sort of passed that first generation where it was like people were figuring out the rules, and now we're a bit more into people who have grown up with those games and have played queer games and are now doing like a second generation of them. Maybe. Um, yeah, we got our screenshots, which you'll see all over the place. You'll see on our socials, you'll see on our website. So if you ever do see part of the Queer Games Festival and you see a game and there's like a little, like a screenshot or a little animated screenshots, you'll be like, oh, Queer Games, heck yeah. So thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good time. I hope you see you around at the festival. Subscribe if you want, like, to various things. Buy my games, all that sort of stuff. And I'll talk to you in the future. All right.